So in this week's Q&A, I've got a question that I'm keen to answer about outsiders and Betfair trading. So the question comes on Twitter from Paladino, if I've pronounced that correctly, apologies if I haven't. And he asks, do you worry that City traders will eventually beat us because they know more? So a little bit of assumption there in that question, probably quite fairly in a sense, but this is an interesting question for me because over time I've seen different demographics of people make various comments, some assumptions, and I've got an opinion on it. So first of all, to start off, I didn't attend university, I haven't got a degree, I haven't got an exceptionally high IQ, and I've never worked in the city. On the flip side, in the opposite of that, I did work in McDonald's, slightly embarrassing, spent a little bit of time in the military, and Betfair did contact me to feature me as a face on their marketing as a successful exchange trader. So to answer this question any differently would be unfair because it would be against everything that sort of like I stand for, where I've come from, and just me. So actually I think the complete opposite. I think being an outsider to the traditional norms is a very positive thing, and I think that can give you an advantage. Does that mean that City traders are useless? Absolutely not. Does it mean they don't know what they're doing? Not at all. It means that, whilst there's overlaps, particularly in probably sentiment-based markets like pre-race trading and horses or pre-football, there's probably a lot of overlap there, but they are different as well. But what I'm trying to get at is, that fixed thinking. And so I think of like that saying, which is something like, we've always done it this way, or people come into a situation and they look at it from a slightly more fixed view because they're kind of instructed or taught to do it that way, which can be very helpful, can provide a shortcut, no question, but also it's limiting as well. So being an outsider like myself, and I've noticed friction and a bit of kickback from some of the academics over time, maybe feeling as though they're a little bit entitled or they're not, getting what they wanted and disappointed maybe. But people like myself shouldn't exist to them, but I actually think that it's quite clear why we do. It's because we come into the situation as a blank canvas. We come in not having different ideas about how things should be done, and so we try something completely different, we analyse the outcome, and then we try again, and we just keep going over and over. And to do that can be hard because you've got to go against the grain, but we all know if you want to be a successful trader, you've got to be a contrarian. You've got to be willing to go against the grain, to be in that small portion of people that actually succeed because they've done things differently. So that's what I'm getting at. You need to be different if you want to succeed in the markets. And so to come down a conventional route, I don't see that as a massive bonus, and it's something that's worked out well for me. So academics usually hate me for saying that sort of thing with a passion, because it's not the route they've travelled, and I understand that, and I'm sure there's plenty of them that's successful as well. But I like to think of different things even outside of trading and other industries, and being the contrarian and going against the grain has served people very well a lot of the time. So you think of people like Elon Musk, who turned up and sort of turned the car industry on its head because he'd done something completely different, and if he'd arrived in the car industry having been there for the last 10-15 years thinking and doing things the same way that everybody else does, I would argue that he certainly wouldn't have done what he has. And I see that trading is one of those things that's very sensitive to people going against the grain, and you probably need to go against the grain more than you do elsewhere in other areas. So I think being an outsider, being somebody that is not city based, looking at things a bit differently, sort of analysing, doing that feedback loop and repeating over and over, is a strong advantage. And so I don't think that really concerns me. Another reason it doesn't concern me is because a lot of the stuff that I do is very reactive to stuff that's actually happening in the markets. So again, another question that comes up similar to this is, do you think people will be replaced by algorithms? Undoubtedly, algorithms are a lot more efficient in a lot of ways, and they will replace certain areas of trading, and some probably already have. However, we're not at a stage where the entire markets can be run on algorithms, because an algorithm isn't yet at a stage where it's watching the TV, seeing reactions that happen there, understanding the comments that are being made, all these different things that can influence the market, even if it's over the shorter term. So I'm not saying being a follower is useless, although I'm just saying you need to realise you can't be a follower forever and succeed, because to be in that small group you need to break away from the pack, learn everything you possibly can, but then you need to break away and be willing to go against the grain. So, being down a conventional route is not something that concerns me in terms of competition. The thing that does potentially concern me over time, that's sort of city-based, if anything, would be liquidity being spread across too many exchanges. So we've already seen it a little bit. There's less marketing towards Betfair's exchange, unfortunately. Now there's a lot of promotion of the sports books, which is an industry-wide thing. There's several different exchanges. Some of them are up and coming, doing well. But if we had a situation where there was too many exchanges with the liquidity spread across all of them, then it would be less of a ideal trading proposition to be trading the markets with less money flowing through. So that's the only concern that I have from an outsider's kind of perspective, or outside problems and the city and people coming from the city. And the other thing I think is actually really important, just before I go to mention there, is the city is far bigger, and there's a lot more money available in different markets like Forex and futures, and it's far more scalable. So I think it's more likely that people might succeed on Betfair and then start investing their time into trading things like Forex and futures and all that kind of stuff, rather than the other way around, because Betfair trading is very profitable. Yes, it's not tax-free. Yes, there is premium charges, but I think it's unlikely you'll see people come from the other direction. I think they're more likely to go towards trading those larger things, commodities, stuff like that, in the city than the other way around.